So let's get ready to create our first migration and create a test table inside of our database. The first thing I want to do is install Composer so I can create a Laravel project. Once this is done, I can run php composer.phar, create project, Laravel, and preferred distribution. Now that's installed, let's take a quick look inside of our MySQL database. I'm going to use the empty website database that I have. If I issue the show tables command, you can see that I don't have any tables at all. Let's now open up this newly installed Laravel project in our text editor so we can start to connect to our database and create some migrations. Let's head over to our app config and database file, and we'll change our login credentials for our MySQL server. In this case, my password is root and the database, as we've already seen, is called website. Now that we've done that, we can actually create some migration. So I'm still inside of here. I'm going to go ahead and list directory, and I'm going to cd over to Laravel. This is where we go ahead and use Artisan, PHP's command line interface. So let's use PHP Artisan, and we'll do migrate make. Now this might seem a little strange, but what we're actually doing here is we're creating a migration file, and we'll see this inside of our text editor in a moment. We're going to name this how we would expect it to read as the action. In this case, it's going to be create_articles table. Now we notice that once I create that and head over to database migrations, you can see that we've got the migration file here, but it's also created a class name similar. You'll also notice that we've got two methods, up and down. Now up is what happens when you actually run your migrations. So for example, creating a table or modifying a table, and down is what's going to happen when we roll back our migration. So we're going to be using Laravel's schema builder to create our articles table. So we use the create method, we pass in the name of the table that we want to create, and we also have this callback which we can then access the argument t, or table, or whatever you want to call this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an incrementing field here. This will be the primary incrementing field. I'm going to call this ID. So we use the increments method for that. I also want to go ahead and create a title, a description, and a body. So in this case, I'm going to use the string method for the title. I'm going to give that a length of 200. This is essentially the same as creating a varchar. I'm now going to say t string description. This is going to be 500. And I'm going to say t text, which is a text type, so that doesn't require a number. I'm just going to call this body. Now Laravel also has useful created at and updated at columns, which when you're using models and you using perhaps Eloquent, you go ahead and create a record for this. It will automatically add a created at date, and when you update this in any way, it will automatically modify the updated at date for you. So to do this, we use time stamps, and don't confuse this with timestamp. So the opposite of creating a table is obviously dropping a table. So we say schema drop articles. Let's go ahead and run these migrations. So we use PHP Artisan migrate. Now, because I've created this migration, anyone else now using this project can go ahead and run this same command and not actually have to worry about setting up the database themselves at all. This will all be done for you. When I hit this, you can see that we get a migrated create articles table. If there were any problems here, you'll see an error, so you can go ahead and fix your code up. Let's now show tables within this within this website database that we have. You can see that we've got two tables. One's migrations and one articles. So migrations is basically a table that will keep track of all the migrations that have and haven't been run. So you don't go ahead and delete this or modify this, just leave it as it is. If we now describe the articles table that we created, and I just go ahead and enlarge this, you can see that it contains all of the data we would expect to see. So Laravel's generated all of this for us. And the good thing about the schema builder is it doesn't matter what database solution you're using, as long as it's supported by Laravel, this will just all be created normally. So, it doesn't matter if you're switching between databases. Now remember, you can also create multiple migrations in one go. So if you know the structure of like 5 or 6 tables, you can use the migrate make command over and over again and fill in as many migrations as you need. And then when you run PHP artisan migrate, that will just migrate everything. And the same for yourself on another machine or another developer as well. So that's how we create a table using Laravel migrations.